Hello foam fanatics, Gerard Shifting Lens here, and it's time for another Minas Tirith update. Let me show you what I've done in the last 6 weeks. Okay, as you can see, we are now at it's mid-January 2024, and we have some snow here. It's finally winter. So it's a great time for crafting, and yes, the last 6 weeks I crafted like crazy, and I want to show you the transformation of all the blocks I demonstrated in a previous video of possible projects within the walls of the project. It's time to change those blocks into real projects, real houses. We go from the mountain up to the other side, step by step. So yeah, just lean back and enjoy. Before I start putting all the buildings on the area you see in front of me, let's take you over the 3 sections, the higher, the middle and the lower section. In a video from last year during summer, you already saw the 3 levels, but they were all out of this white and black foam. And now you can see that all the streets are covered with pavement. We have some shutters here, I think they call. And you see some foundations, you see some steps as well. And you still see a lot of open spots. And we are going to fill them in. We start with the high section. So let me first close this section by putting in a wall. Okay, so here we have a wall. Now it's a very wide wall, textured from the inside, the outside and the top. As you might remember, I put some blocks over here, some templates stating houses, a house, a tower and some other projects. Well, let's start with that corner. So here we have the first set of houses. This is the first house I've made. Is this very simple rectangular block, not much happening over here, because it's all the way in that far left corner. The house beside is a little bit more interesting. I love the effect of the rock going into almost the house, you could say. And this tower was actually a no-brainer for me. You have here the side of the mountain. The old mountain that connects with this one forms a seam, and now I have a large part of that seam concealed by this tower. So that was the first project I transformed from block into what you see today. For this corner, you see the big buttress. I thought about extending it, but in the end I ended up putting this house, which doesn't make sense, but it is a lot of fun. I put it in here. And now I have a very cozy little corner of the city. From this area, I wanted to go straight away to the house over here. Now this is an interesting house. First of all, it connects the wall, the mountain. It blends in, you could say. And I also, if I'm reminded well, I told about the house has to be has to have some kind of stairway, so I can go from street level up to the wall. So I came up with this nice little house, and as you can see, it does have a stairway up here going to the first floor. Now let's put it in to start with. Have to, yep, there it goes. It fits very nicely against the wall. It merges into the rock, and yeah, do not forget, I told you we have to be able to go from the street level to the wall. So now we can. Okay, so that was the next part. That left me with a gap over here, and in the end, just a little, I'm not sure, maybe I put a tree in here or it's a little well. We'll see about that. So also a very, very small but nice feature. From there, I went to the mountain itself. I made a video about building a tower in collaboration with Tabletop Witchcraft, and the result is this tower. As you can see, there are some wires coming out of the tower. We get back to that later on. But here we have the tower. Now obviously there needs to be some kind of a connection. Well, not that difficult. There you have your connection. So now I have a very nice area I can move within, you could say. Back to this high elevation. Here I visioned a square with a tower, with an open structure, thinking about some kind of marketplace with, yeah, well, arches and stuff. But in the end, it became something totally different. And for this I would get a mini that was 3D printed for me by a very good friend of mine. So I made a chunky base with a very nice statue on it, which I think adds to the atmosphere, you could say. Still two buildings, and actually if you see, we have a seam over here, and this seam is the transition between the middle and the higher elevation. Now, as you can see, I cut out quite a section over here, but this building sticks out into the lower to the lower elevation, and this is actually also one building. And the reason for this is that they need to conceal actually this seam. So let's start with this one. It's quite a big one. I plan to do two buildings. Well, they are, but actually with the little bridge in the middle, it now, yeah, they could be one building actually. Or they look like one building maybe. Okay, and I'm almost there. Oh, there he is. Boom. So, the fun thing with this building, it has a, this is ground level on the middle side, and on the other side we have ground level, which is approximately 2.5 inch higher, or 2.5 inch higher. A lot of doors, windows, the stairway that goes up. Yeah, much to see. There are a lot of windows not currently in there because it's still only, well, mostly foam build, has to be painted first. I put some windows in, some fall out, but eventually everywhere you will see windows in them. Good. The final build for this section. Yet again, I wanted to have a building that will be high, and high in a way that it will hide the seam, but also I want to see something happening on the wall. So at some points things have to stick out or even have to be on the wall itself. So first we put on this building, and as you can see, the seam is now totally gone, and now we have a nice opening for the road with the buildings on both sides. Now there's some parts are missing, so I will add them as well, but for this we first need to add the next part of the wall, which is a larger part. So here it comes. So now the middle section is closed in as well. I know that at this point I really wanted to move on, but I forced myself to first address this area and finish as much as possible on that side, because there was still something missing. And if I finished that, then as a, how do you call it, as a bonus or as a reward, I could go on to the next section. So first let's get rid of the seam from the outside. This is the tower. And this tower, we have a block here, and actually this block, it sticks on this side and it sticks on this side. So now it's keeping the walls nicely together. And again, yet again, some seams that were there are gone. This elevation is a little bit higher, which is fine. I do need to make some adjustments still, but that's something for later. Now there are a few things missing, as you can see over here, so let's add them as well. Since this is a house, I assume there must be some kind of way to actually get from the house on the roof as well, because this is just a balcony. So here, this suggests a little house with a stairway that goes down. To prevent someone from falling off, a little railing. And fine, so far so good. Now, the most important thing that's missing over here, the crenellations. So let's do that. The crenellations on the older wall, they are all glued. Now, at that time that was perfect, but as soon as you start smashing into walls or people start feeling and doing stuff, things might break off. I can glue that on, that's not a problem. But what's way better is to work with magnets. With magnets. So here, put it on, and there it is. Now, if I smash on the wall, nothing happens. Yeah, it falls off, but so this is, and for transportation, since I want to travel with this project for the upcoming year, so much better. So yeah, and with this test was fine. Now I can do the whole wall with it. So first let's build it up until here. The inside, as you can see, it's curved. It's not cut in a curved way, it was just a straight sheet, but you can gently bend it into the shape you like. These are magnets that are a bit less powerful. Have to change them still, but as you can see, they hold up, so that's cool. Let's adjust a bit. Okay, that's nice. Okay, the tower. The same goes for the tower, and I actually only used 2 little magnets, one on either side. Put them on, and there it is. Yeah, so that works really, really well. This section, the upper section, the wall, finished, onto the middle section. Let's start with this area. You see a tower, needs to do some repairs by the way, but anyways, you need to see a tower going down, so I need that shape. There's a house. From the start, has to be a well. I planned on 2 houses, it became 1, and this is the huge gatehouse. So we start with that section. Okay, there you have it. The extension of the tower, again a little bit silly. There's some kind of dwelling underneath, you could say, but it looks nice. So I'm pleased with it, and yeah. So that was a quick build. I was struggling with this one, so I skipped that one, and I went over to this building, and I think this is one of my favorites. So let me show you. Okay, the bottom section, I used one of my pillars to spice the building up. Fits nicely. We have a stairway on this side. Then we have the next section, extending this pillar scheme. Actually, I use this pillar also as a railing, and the stairway goes up further to the next building, which is this one. Again, some windows are missing, but then again, they shouldn't be in here anyway, because it still needs to be painted. So the building, obviously from this building, from street level, you can get up to the wall. Now this is a nice building, sticking out quite a bit, and I know at this point it hit me. I wanted to do a tower-like thing that goes over the wall, actually the same as the old gate on the higher wall. So I came up with this contraption where I added this totally going over the wall, and obviously it needs something more, a roof of some kind. So here we have it. And the nice thing with this one, it also clicks and keeps the whole thing together. So here we have a very nice house that also adds to what is happening on the wall. Now I can fill in this part with the crenellations, but I have this very strange corner, and I was thinking about this for quite some while. And a friend of mine told me, why not build a very small shelter for the guards that are on the wall? And I thought, well, that's a nice idea. So I came up with a very compact little build that I can put over here. Again, that's important. It had to stick out, so something is happening on the inside of the wall, and it does. Now filling in with magnets the railings on the inside, and of course with magnets the railings on the outside. Great, section finished. Although this well, or this fountain, was finished even after the big build that's still not that you cannot see yet, I struggled a lot with this one. It is such a simple build, building a little fountain, but for some reason I couldn't do it. And in my previous video I showed you a purple foam square. Now believe it or not, this sounds very silly, but as soon as I changed the purple round, the purple disc into a green foam disc, I built within 20 minutes a very simple fountain, which I think fits in nicely. There it is. Okay. So, not sure, but it felt like the color was preventing me from being creative in some way. The final build is this large gate. But before, let me skip back to this one, because there is something I'm being reminded of the last video when I put out all the templates. I also told about the idea of a large arched bridge going from this house to here. I decided not to do so, simply because looking from an angle over the city, you have a very nice view how it all looks like. And adding a arched bridge, as narrow and lean as it is, it will block a lot of the line of sight. And it didn't feel natural. So I skipped that one. I did think about adding something between this building and this one, but while building it, also that didn't make it. So this is the big gatehouse with the arch or the tunnel where the road goes underneath the build. So here it is, the build. Again, this build is the same as these two. It goes from the middle to a lower section, again from hiding that line. Okay, there it is. That's actually quite a chunky building. I didn't cut away too much from the blocks. I wanted to be a little bit more chunky, but it also has to be a build of some significance. So these are the noble men, I think, that once ruled the city, I think, and with magnets, that's great. So to keep the style with all the buildings, you see that I use a lot of archways, obviously, because it all looks like they are from the same time period. But also an extra feature is to repeat the railing from this house to that one, so they relate, which I think is nice. And adding small little things like a little buttress over here or some little nice round windows, arches, etc. It all adds to the atmosphere, I think. Okay, middle section is ready. Now this is where the last video ended. Actually, the whole project has to be finished by the end of February, and it will so. But I thought I would already be pleased if it was only built up until here. But I was in a building frenzy, so I went on and started on the last lower section. And to start off, we need to add the wall again. So now we get a repeat, because first we start concealing this part. So yet again, we have a block. And again, we have the same kind of elevation. Now there is a seam on the other side still that has to be taken care of. There are a lot of small little openings that I have to take care of, but that's something for later. First, we need to make this structure look like it's almost finished. Those are details. So again, now we can finish this part, the crenellations. There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there it is. Okay, so looking at this, at the wall, that was very important to me, because there's something on the wall, a little stairway, a little house, a little roof, a big building. So something has to stick out over here. Obviously, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 buildings. So these are the final 4. Now, spoiler alert. No, it's not a spoiler alert. These 3 buildings will be built or are partially already built. This section, this very small piece with the final build here, it will not be painted. The building will be made partially out of big blocks, maybe a little bit of cutting, not being painted, to show people when they visit a fair, this is how it looked like, and this is what it's going to be. So let's start with this section. Again, a tower. And this is a very narrow building, but I also decided I wanted to make it a high building. My son told me, oh, I'm missing stables, or where are the soldiers situated? And actually, this could be, I was thinking about, this is the military office, for all I care. A little bit higher, which is nice. Partially the seam is being concealed. Very how do you call it? It's a building with Ruben, how do you call it? In a majestic building.
With stature.
That's the word I was looking for. It's a stature. It may be a little bit of Greek or Roman, or it's nice. So yeah, the build in the middle. Here's the thing. This could be the old city. You will see that the roads are narrow, quite narrow. And you will see that in a moment. There the roads are a little bit wider. So that was also a fun thing to do, to actually try and make the streets look a little bit more narrow. Now, mind you, building high and keep that almost vertically the same, that makes it unreachable. You miss out on a lot of detail. So it's great to have the first floor where the streets are narrow, but then you have to work backwards, or you have to work, yeah, in a way that the higher levels are less wide, so it opens up the higher you go. Now, with some imagination, this could be a cross, and looking at it, it had to be some kind of a religious building, maybe a temple, a little church or whatever. So it became a very, very a nice asymmetrical building with a lot of windows in them. And as you can see, it goes straight up, but not as high. Then it falls back, so I have room for movement. Okay, the final building, and this is one I'm still working on. Need to finish that this week and get yet again a high building. This looks a little bit strange. I went a little bit crazy with some of the stairs. 2 houses with stairs going from the side to the front. And you see it already sticks out in a very strange way. This is level with the wall, with the pavement on the wall. So here the build will be extended. 1/3 of this build will stick out and sit on the wall. So it gets a bit higher. Maybe a little tower, not sure. But then it makes sense. Every now and then something sticks out. Okay, then finally, this piece and this one, well, it doesn't fit because this building is now sticking out, which formerly there wasn't a building, so I could put that one on there. So actually, I'm almost there. This one I need to finish. I hope to do so this week. Yeah, and then the next phase will start. Yeah, let me go over what I still have to do in what order. So I have to build this house first. make the crenellations up until this point. And then I need to do some adjustments. For instance, you have a big seam over here. So I designed some kind of buttress that goes over it with magnets. So that seam will be completely gone. Mind you, there are still cracks, little openings, but we will paint it basic gray, and then we will make it, well, it's the White City, so it gets a very light coloring. The interesting parts could be the roofs, adding more color onto the roofs. A lot of plants, shrubs, grass and stuff, but that's something for later this month. So build a house, build that buttress wall, paint it all up. I will do that with a friend of mine from Tabletop Basement in Hanover, Germany. Has to be finished this month. Do some weathering, and hopefully, if I still have the time, before the end of February, adding banners and all kinds of stuff. So, dear friends, I hope you're still awake. If not, then that's fine. This is the project so far. Now, mind you, this is the extension, and everything that's behind the wall is already finished. I don't show it yet, how the entire project looks like at the moment. Actually, I haven't seen it myself. So I'm very excited to see how it looks with the old city behind it. But no, I haven't got the time. I have to keep on building, have to keep on painting, because I am on a tight schedule. Okay, I stop babbling now. I hope you liked this little update, or this large update. I will keep you posted. I think within 3 or 4 weeks, it's time for another update. And I can't wait to finish it because I want to do other projects. But yeah, thanks for watching and hope to see you soon. Bye bye.